Wanted to ask you about what's happening in the tech space and the crypto space in particular. CZ being ordered to stay in the United States now. Of course, the UAE doesn't have an extradition treaty, so it's likely the SEC wants to keep him there for now. What happened at Binance? Was this a management failure, a supervisory failure, or both?
Well, I'm not super close to the Binance situation, but here's what I think happened, because I am an entrepreneur. They ramped up very quickly. A lot of mistakes were made to ramp up the business, and then they did what a lot of businesses sometimes do. They go back and try to correct these mistakes through tighter and more stringent compliance, but the damage was already done. And so I applaud CZ for, facing the music, paying the fine. We'll have to see what happens as it relates to his sentencing in late February. But I think it's understandable from the American government's position that they want him to stay in the United States. The question is, will he or will he not serve jail time? If you look at other situations like this, there have been hedge fund managers, frankly, that have paid multiple $1 billion of fines and served no jail time. So don't be surprised if he doesn't get any jail time. But the flip side is, if you read the complaint, if you read the Department of Justice's complaint, there's some serious things in the complaint, and there's some serious things that he pled guilty to. So could he serve jail time? Yes. If I had to put a thumb on the scale, it's probably some jail time. It's probably 12 to 18 months. If you're faced with that and you're a man like him, Michael Milken had to face that, as you may recall, 30 years ago. My guess is that they're afraid he would not come back to serve the time. But I don't think that's CZ's personality. Having met him enough times, had dinner with him a few times, I don't think that's his personality. I think he's pled guilty, and whatever the sentencings will be, he'll ultimately face. But I think there's a bright future for CZ going forward, as there was for Michael Milken and other people that have been involved in situations like this.
So unlike we saw with the FTX collapse, we've actually seen crypto markets rally off the back of this and move higher. Mm-hmm. What does that say about the state of the market?
Well, a couple of things. I think the Department of Justice and the SEC in the United States made a decision they didn't want to shut down Binance. I think they looked at the forward trajectory of Binance and the stringent controls that were put in place and the KYC, AML controls put in place, and they made a decision, why cripple the entire industry by shutting down the largest player in the industry? And so I think that's the reason why crypto has rallied. The big overarching reason, obviously, is the Bitcoin ETF, the cash ETF, which is likely to get approved in January. The last date for this approval would be January 10th. I would find it astonishing if there's a rug pull here, given the court cases and the direction that those court cases went in the United States. And the market is telling you that ETF will likely be approved. And so if that happens, I've been on Wall Street for 35 years, Dan. Wall Street likes selling things. These products are sold and they're not bought. There'll be an army of salespeople, financial consultants, registered investment advisors that will be sold the Bitcoin Cash ETF. If it just tracks what happened to gold, when we eventually got a gold ETF, there'll be $80 to $100 billion going into Bitcoin. And I think that's the setup, and I think that's why the asset has rallied over the last 6 to 12 months.